Hello, and welcome to my channel where I'll be talking all things the TMNT's The Last Ronin. I'm a big fan of this series, and I invite you all to follow me in this journey, and let's explore the world of The Last Ronin even further. In this video, we will explore and see how Donnie would lead the charge versus Hamato if he were to be the last Ronin. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Decades after the fall of the Hamato clan, only Donatello remains. Unlike Michelangelo, Donatello has always been the mind of the group, analytical, cautious, and visionary. The loss of his brothers, Leonardo, Raphael, Michelangelo, and their father Splinter, has not just broken his heart, but shattered his worldview. Donatello operates from the Undernet, a hidden digital network beneath the city's mainframe. His lair is filled with discarded tech, jury-rigged AI constructs, and virtual echoes of his fallen brothers created from old data. Holographic ghosts of Leo, Raph, and Mikey. These constructs argue with him, motivate him, question his morals. Leo pushes discipline. Raph wants revenge. Mikey urges compassion. Donatello listens to all but follows none blindly. We learn how each brother fell. Raphael died, leading a suicidal assault on a foot compound. Leonardo was ambushed, trying to broker peace with a rival clan. Michelangelo died saving a group of refugee mutants, sacrificing himself selflessly. Donatello carries their weapons in memory, Leo's swords, Raph's sai, Mikey's nunchaku, but rarely uses them. His main tools are a retractable bow staff and an arsenal of tech-based weapons. Donatello and Master Splinter are ambushed in Japan while attempting to secure peace with the Hamato clan. Donatello survives, but just barely, and awakens months later to find the family gone. He retreats into the shadows. These memories play back through AI reconstructions. Donatello obsessively analyzing every tactical mistake, trying to find a logical flaw that led to each death. Donatello attempts a suicide mission into the heavily guarded New York fortress controlled by Hiroto. He nearly dies, hallucinating conversations with his brothers rendered through AI masks. Ghosts arguing over whether what he's doing is logical or emotional, instead of raw rage, like Michelangelo. Donatello questions whether this fight is data-backed justice or mathematical madness. He survives barely, and is taken in by April O'Neil. Donatello helps April and Casey Marie Jones, but resists forming emotional bonds. He builds them better defenses and teaches Casey stealth tactics and logic-based combat. His relationship with Casey Marie is distant at first. She accuses him of trying to replace his family with simulations and systems. He eventually opens up and trains her not as a ninja, but as a tactician. Their bond becomes a symbol of Donatello learning to value people again over cold calculations. Once Donatello fully commits to mentoring Casey, things begin to change in the resistance base. He begins leading recon teams. She implements predictive strike plans based on Donatello's models, develops a hybrid fighting style that fuses her father's aggression with Donnie's precision. Donatello no longer just watches from the lab. He actively joins her during planning sessions, valuing her instincts. Their relationship becomes less like master-student and more like equals, strategist and field commander. This shift is essential. It's the moment Donatello starts trusting people again. His logic and technology are no longer walls, they're bridges. During one of their deep data dives into stolen foot servers, Donatello and Casey uncover a vulnerability in Hiroto's infrastructure. An experimental command and control node embedded in the top of a Roku tower, used to manage Hiroto's AI army and surveillance networks. If this node is destroyed or corrupted, it could plunge Hiroto's entire regime into disarray long enough to trigger an uprising, but it's heavily protected by cybernetic guards, lethal drones, and a biometric locked firewall keyed only to Hiroto himself. April warns, it's a suicide mission. Donatello agrees, if he were going in alone. Donatello devises a two-pronged plan. Resistance cells led by Casey Marie will coordinate hits across the city to distract and scatter Hiroto's forces. Meanwhile, Donatello will infiltrate the tower solo, using a blend of stealth tactics, holographic decoys, zero-day virus payloads, EMP pulses, and good old-fashioned ninja infiltration. The goal? Reach the top of the tower and destroy the node, then confront Hiroto one-on-one. Casey wants to go with him. Donatello tells her, "You're the future. I'm the closing chapter. If I fail, you finish it. If I succeed, you build what comes next." He hands her a chip, a final kill switch to the control node, keyed to his neural signature. If he dies, she can still activate it using his stored memory core. Using the training and tactical insight she learned from Donatello, Casey Marie leads a synchronized, multi-pronged sabotage operation across New York City to divide and distract Hiroto's forces. Strategic charges are set off near military depots and outposts, forcing Hiroto to believe a full-scale rebellion is beginning. Casey sends encrypted chatter mimicking a large rebel force moving toward the tower from the east. In reality, it's a fake trail designed to lure Hiroto's elite guards away from Donatello's infiltration route. With the city in chaos, foot surveillance networks fractured, and Hiroto's forces scrambled to multiple hotspots, Donatello slips through the weakened defenses. Donatello infiltrates the foot tower alone, moving through shadows and bypassing security with silent efficiency. He's not just a ninja anymore, he's an invisible algorithm, hacking systems, disabling cameras, and scrambling patrol routes in real time using a device mounted to his wrist. Casey Marie wants to fight beside him, but Donatello won't allow it, not out of pride, but because he knows Hiroto has turned the tower into a digital trap designed specifically for him. We're now on the rooftop of the Oroku Tower, amidst a violent thunderstorm. Neon lights flicker through the downpour. The city watches in silence from below, unaware this fight will decide its fate. Hiroto descends from his command drone, fully armored in his biomechanical exosuit. Sleek, brutal, and grotesquely elegant, it whirs with dark energy. Donatello steps out of the shadows, wearing a tattered cloak, bow staff in hand, his brother's weapons tucked away, and a final resort tech module hidden in his left gauntlet. Hiroto. The last turtle, the weakest one, I expected better. Donatello, quiet and calm, replies, I expected smarter. They charge. Donatello's fighting style, measured, reactive, focused on deflection and disabling, true to his analytical nature. He targets weak joints in the exosuit, aiming to wear it down. Hiroto's fighting style, savage, relentless, with exosuit-enhanced punches and reactive armor that adapts to Donatello's movements. Donatello is losing. Ribs cracked, arm dislocated. He fights on instinct now, his mind fogging with pain. Hiroto pins him to the ground. Hiroto gloats. You were never meant to be the last. You're not a warrior, you're a mistake. Donatello's vision blurs. Then he smiles. He weakly replies, You're right. I'm not the best fighter. A faint chime comes from his gauntlet. Embedded in Donnie's wrist bracer is a compressed magnetic pulse unit, prototype tech he never deployed, one use only. As Hiroto lifts Donatello for the final blow, Donnie slams his bracer directly onto Hiroto's chest plate. Donatello whispers, But I am the smartest. He activates the pulse. A violent electromagnetic shockwave erupts. Hiroto's armor locks up. The adaptive AI goes haywire. Servo limbs twitch and seize. Donnie rolls away, coughing blood. Hiroto screams, ripping at his armor as it implodes inward, folding and crushing him as it loses control. Donnie pulls himself up using his staff, limping toward Hiroto, whose helmet is split open, face partially burned. Hiroto, gasping, You cheated. Donatello, kneeling, solemn, No, I won. The electromagnetic shockwave subsides, sparks cascade from Hiroto's failing exosuit as its core systems overload. He staggers, armor twitching violently, helmet cracked open, his once imposing figure now a faltering husk of metal and ego. Donatello, bleeding and barely standing, retrieves his bow staff. His movements are slow, but deliberate, each step driven by purpose, not rage. He slings the staff across his back and unstraps the 3 relics he's carried this entire journey. Leonardo's katana, Raphael's twin sai, Michelangelo's nunchaku, his brothers. As Hiroto drops to one knee, snarling, Donatello closes his eyes briefly. He remembers the words of Master Splinter. When mind, body, and spirit become one, a single warrior becomes a force greater than an army. Donatello moves. First, with surgical precision, he slashes Leonardo's katana across Hiroto's chest, cracking open the armor plating. A move Leo used in sparring, always focused, always efficient. Next, he drives Raphael's sai into Hiroto's side. Brutal, direct, a tribute to Raph's raw, unflinching will. Finally, he spins Michelangelo's nunchaku around Hiroto's throat, twisting it until Hiroto stumbles back, exposed. Donatello throws the nunchaku to the ground, grabs his bow staff with both hands, one breath, one motion. With the weight of all he's lost and all he must protect, he drives the blunt end of the staff forward. It impales Hiroto's chest, driving straight through cracked armor and failed machinery, and into the rooftop beneath. Hiroto gasps, Hiroto, choking, defiant. You needed them all to beat me. Donatello, quiet, composed. No, I honored them all to finish you. As Hiroto slumps forward, lifeless, the rain begins to wash blood and oil into the gutters. The weapons remain embedded around his corpse, a silent shrine to the fallen. Donatello drops to one knee, exhausted. And for the first time in years, he weeps in peace. The first rays of sun break over the shattered skyline. Smoke still rises from parts of the city, evidence of the coordinated rebellion. But there's also silence, a fragile calm. On a rooftop overlooking Oroku Tower's crumbling ruins, Donatello stands beside Casey. Her arm is in a sling. Her cheek is bruised, but her eyes are focused. She stares at the skyline. He stares at the horizon. Casey says, "You really did it. He's gone." Donatello replies, "We did it. You kept the resistance moving. You gave the city hope." She pauses, then looks at the weapons now strapped to Donatello's back. Casey asks, "What now?" Donatello looks down at the city, not in mourning, but in calculation, in potential. "We rebuild. Smarter, stronger, with balance." He glances at her. "You're not just a fighter anymore, Casey. You're a leader." She nods. She hesitates, then pulls something from her satchel, a small, wrapped bundle. She opens it. Inside, nestled gently in soft cloth, are 4 baby turtles, each with distinct markings. Donatello, stunned, asks, "Are they?" Casey smiles. "Yours, ours, the future." Donatello kneels slowly, his battle-hardened hands trembling as he reaches toward them. One of the hatchlings crawls into his palm without fear. For the first time in decades, Donatello doesn't feel like the last. He feels like the beginning. And that's how Donnie's story would go if he would have been the last Ronin. I hope you enjoyed my interpretation of his story, and if you would like more of these stories, please let me know in the comments below. How would you make his story different? Or what would you change? Again, let me know in the comments below, and please help support my channel by subscribing. Lots of work went into making this, so any support would be greatly appreciated. Thank you, and see you next time.